that intro video you showed, it's just stirs up a lot of a lot of emotions, a lot of memories, and I'm really looking forward to sort of talking about that today, and really honoring a great athlete and a great human.
Talk to us about your journey. So you started snowboarding and skiing at 3, was it?
Yeah, well, skiing at 3, and then my mum got a snowboard when I was 9 years old, and I got really jealous. So,
right.
Yeah, she made a deal with me. She said, finish, the top level in ski school, which is Black Kangaroos, level 1.
There we go.
And I did that year, and I got a snowboard the next year, and just haven't looked back since. I remember the first day, I picked up my snowboard. I'm like, I'm going to go to the Olympics.
A bit like Belle, I started on snow at the age of about 3 as well, and I suppose that's where our journeys kind of veer off, because Belle went on to be a great athlete, and I was a very ordinary athlete for a long time. But I was like the sort of the kid who wanted to be an astronaut and sort of ends up working for NASA. I just had such a passion for snow and skiing in the mountains, and despite there not really being a clear pathway, I sort of found a way to continue on in the sport, and every step I took was a new step, and in roles that hadn't been done before. So I guess a lot of risks, a lot of chance, and being in this role for 18 years, I mean, it's a very different place. When I started, there was literally 2 of us, and now we're sort of grown into a pretty high functioning sport that's really relevant within our sports system, and really proud of the legacy that we've created.
And time where you were suffering those injuries, how did you cope during those periods, Belle?
Oh, shit house. It was so boring. There was no one to prepare you for it. Athletes, you just get through it, and it's a little bit boring. No, it was so boring. I hated the rehab. My coach was like, "Oh my God, is she gonna quit?" Oh my God. But it was more about just pushing on, doing the rehab, just getting it done, and just focusing on the bigger picture. And then you put in the effort and do a little bit extra, and suddenly my coach and I were just like, "Oh my God, you're on the podium every World Cup!" Wow. But you just have to trust yourself and then just get the work done.
And what's led you to your initiative with Lifeline? And do you want to just talk about that to the community right now?
Yeah, so people who know me, I've suffered from depression and anxiety, and there's times where I do get a little bit sad from time to time, but I know how to manage that. I've got a good team around me, a support network, and that's what we want to create. And the Athletes for Lifeline is a program. Lifeline, there's 21 custodian athletes from all walks of life, which is amazing. And we've decided, myself and Mon Murphy, who's a Paralympic swimmer, we thought, we can't do all these community activations right now because of COVID, but we want to make sure that people stay connected and are aware that there are resources out there they can reach out to. So we started the Athletes for Lifeline, and we just organise episodes wherever we can. We're aiming to do weekly, but things happen, so we kind of just we are flexible in it, but we try and give enough time so people can make the sessions.
I want to move towards talking about Chumpy now and remembering Alex. Do you want to just talk about what he managed to achieve for the sport?
Chumpy was a pioneer in our sport and a real leader. And I suppose, when I think about how our sport has become successful across the various disciplines, it's always needed one person who's kind of showed us the way to sort of teach the whole system, all of us, the coaches, the support staff, the other athletes, about how to be successful. And Chumpy did that. He had this incredible work ethic, this sort of relentless pursuit for excellence, for success. He demanded it from his teammates, from his coaches, and he was obviously incredibly generous with his time back to the next generation of snowboarders. But it was that just absolute single-mindedness to improve and to improve everyone around him, because he knew that if everyone around him was better, that would make him better as well. And so I was actually in the first lockdown watching The Last Dance, and the athlete that came to my mind all through that was Chumpy, because when watching Michael Jordan and the way that he would behave and the way that he was a little bit criticised about how harsh he was on his teammates, and Belle would know that as well, that at times Chumpy he called a spade a spade. He didn't hold back when he wanted his teammates to be better, and I think that's the legacy that he leaves, is that he has taught the whole pathway to be successful. The coaches now know what to do. The athletes know what to do. You got athletes like Belle who are a product of that. But we've got, athletes like, Jared Hughes, who won a silver medal at the Olympics, Cam Bolton, who's won World Cup medals. You've got other athletes coming through, and, the future is very bright. And really that comes down to what Chumpy did, and the way he went about it, and what he taught us all. And so, in sport, you want to leave a legacy, and his legacy is there. I guess the biggest tragedy is that while maybe he'd come to the end of his sporting career, and that was really only weeks old, so I think he sort of reached a point where he'd pretty much decided to hang up the board from competition. He was very committed already to giving back, and had started his own sort of coaching business to teach the next generation of snowboarders, and was always generous with his time in that regard. So, it's tragic on every level, but the gift that he's left us is the pathway, and that's the legacy he leaves.
A lot of us have been calling each other up and talking and catching up and lots of stuff, and it's actually made us feel a lot better and supported in that way. And Lydia Lussler, we've been talking quite a bit, and she said, I'm going to make the effort to call someone I haven't talked to in a while every day, someone different every day, and just connect. Because I think you get so caught up in your own bubble, especially with COVID. At home, you're doing your own thing. You forget that you've got friends. So I think it's important to do that. And then with winter sport community, we're tight. It's very small. We have good relationships. Most of us have known each other since we were like 7 or 8 years old. So it's like a lifetime. I've known Chumpy since I was in person since I was 12 years old, and I knew of him before that as well, through interschools, like the lower level of competition. So for him to go, especially for Cam, he's best mates with Cam, it's really shocking, and it hits close to home. And it's affected people all around the world. He's had that effect on everyone. It's rippled out. But he's always picking up the guitar, like when we're on tour, and just playing for everyone.
He was really good.
He's really good. A really good singer, very talented. He basically picked up his own. He just made his own band. He's so talented. He created this music room, and he had all these drums, like piano, different bits. I don't know music equipment, but he had all these different bits of music things around, and he was his own band because he felt that he could do it himself. He had that confidence about him that he could do it himself.
Michael, COVID's hit, right? How has that affected your sport at the moment?
It's been just an incredible year for the industry. I mean, when you think about starting in the summer with the bushfires that really affected those local communities, they were cut off and really lost the summer trade. And then, you think about with COVID and the impact, I mean, what that's done. There was a huge amount of uncertainty in the lead up to the season. We've seen the season in Victoria start, and we've seen 2 of our 3 resorts, the lifts closed down. Mount Buller's continuing to operate, but obviously we've got this sort of ring of steel around Melbourne, which, they're operating for regional customers only. And in New South Wales, they're making the absolute best of it in Perisher and Thredbo. Again, really limited capacity. And look, for an industry that is, it's a bit of a out of sight, out of mind, but it's a big industry. It generates around $2 billion worth of economic impact. There's about 20,000 jobs that hang off it. So anyone that does Olympic sport will tell you they're not doing it for the money. They are doing it for the absolute passion of their sport and representing their country and the honour of going to an Olympic Games. I mean, I'm a mad AFL supporter. So I thought you asked about a couple of kangaroos here, which is a bit of a disaster, but and obviously we see a lot about how the professional athletes, we get a lot of insight into their lives and how they train and obviously the money that they make. But I think what a lot of people don't realise is that for Olympic athletes, and whether it's winter athletes or summer athletes, they train every bit as hard, if not harder, than any of our professional athletes. Athletes are putting themselves at physical risk every time they go out and do their sport, and it's that athlete that pushes themselves to the boundary of their risk. And where that meets performance, they're the ones that win. So, it's not like many other sports where every time they step out, they are literally risking life and limb what they do. And I think to me, that's the thing that I admire the most.
By the way, what's your favorite? Where do you love skiing the most? Like, where do you love snowboarding the most?
Oh my god, that's such a high pressure question. It's just anywhere that's good snow. You get your friends around. When it's really fun. It's really good.